I will now call the Infrastructure and Community Investment Committee meeting to order. It is 6:15. This meeting is being held in person and electronically in accordance with the Municipal Act. For the consent items, I will read out the title associated with the recommended motions printed on the agenda to see if members of committee would like to deal with them on consent or hold them for discussion. Items that are not held will be deemed approved on consent with no further discussion. They will then move forward to the next general committee meeting for consideration. There's no public meeting tonight, no open delegations, no presentations, no deferred items. So we'll move into agenda 7, which is reports of advisory committee. There are 4 advisory committee reports to be received. I will just read out the titles and then ask if there's any concerns. 7.1 is report of the Arts Advisory Committee dated January 27th, 2026. 7.2, report of the Youth Council dated February 2nd, 2026. 7.3, report of the Communities in Bloom Committee dated February 3rd, 2026. And 7.4, report of the Sustainability Committee Advisory Committee dated February 5th, 2026. If no concerns, I will consider them all to be received on consent. And they are received. I will move into agenda item number 8, which is reports to committee. I will read each report and put the item, if anyone wants to hold, let me know. Report number 1, 8.1, memorandum from D. Moreau, Manager of Water Operations dated March 4th, 2026, concerning the 2025 drinking survey. Seeing no question? Okay, so we'll hold that item. I'll go on to 8.2, Barrie Baycats Facility Use Agreement.
Hold, please.
And I think we're holding that, great. And 8.3, AAA U18 Dressing Room Agreement. And that is approved. Okay. Apologies. Before we proceed with agenda, I'm going to go back to 7, which is a report of the advisory committees. I apologize, but there was 2 recommendations that I have to read out. The first recommendation is a recommendation from the Arts Advisory Committee dated January 27th. The recommendation is that staff undertake a review of the adult entertainment industry bylaw and investigate on amendment to include provisions for burlesque performances. That is approved upon consent. And the second recommendation is that staff review the city's infrastructure. This is 7.41, turf grass. And it reads that staff review the city's infrastructure standards related to sod specifications and assess opportunities to allow or promote alternative turf mixtures where appropriate and consistent with industry standards and best practices, including options that incorporate native species and pollinator supportive alternatives. And that is approved on consent. All right, so we will go back to the first item held, which is the memorandum from D. Moreau, Manager of Water Operations, dated March 4th, concerning the 2025 drinking survey. Councillor Negussi.
Thank you, Chair Hamilton. Just a quick question to Ms. Diamond. Great report, but quick question, why did the overall...
Just put it on the floor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to put it on the floor. So why did the overall confidence in tap water safety decrease slightly from 2023 to 2025? Even though, you know, we maintain, our maintenance is great, the result is great. I'm just wondering why that decrease. And also the survey response dropped from 1,226 in 2023 to 815 in 2025. So is there any explanation for that?
Through you, Chair Hamilton, to Councillor Negussi. Since we have the Manager of Water Operations here, I'm going to defer the questions to Diane Moreau, and thank you for the question.
Through Chair Hamilton to Councillor Negussi. Regarding your question about respondents for the survey, I don't have any real reasoning for it other than the 1,200 we had at the time 2 years ago, I believe was the highest we had seen at the City of Barrie for respondents on a survey. So 800 is still great. It could have been potentially the timing of it. It was on the heels, I believe, of a poll we did for budget. And given that it's the second time we've gone out, it could just be, you know, going back out to the survey that perhaps residents won't respond like they did the first time. So no real, these are just assumptions I'm making, so we don't have any real reasoning behind the drop in respondents on the actual survey itself. And then regarding the confidence in the decrease. So the decrease, when I said a slight decrease, it's approximately 2% on a question that we ask residents. Do you feel your drinking water is safe to drink? There is some correlation with a lot of the aesthetic objective questions we ask about odor and color. And when I align a lot of the responses back to kind of our groundwater sources in our wards, because we collect the data by wards, but we use our data for water by pressure zones, right? We talk about groundwater and surface water. It sits primarily in that area that's supplied by groundwater again. So where we see, we've mentioned it before, where we have the hard water might be higher in minerals and iron and manganese. So to your point, you're absolutely right. We have done some maintenance changes and some operational changes. We're looking at age of water, how we can move the water a little bit more than maybe we have in the past in certain areas. And we are working with our communications team to really look at our communications plan and continue our education and outreach. We've done, we've created videos, we've added things on the website with respect to frequently asked questions and did you knows. We have our experience water days with the grade 7 and 8s. And so we are looking to continue to build that and really educate and just help our residents be aware of the safety of their drinking water and the work that we do.
Good. Thank you for the explanation. Always perception matter, and I'm glad you're working on that. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Great questions. All right, I will move on to this. Oh, sorry, Councillor, Deputy Mayor Thompson.
Thank you, Chair Hamilton, and sorry, through you to, I don't know if the same person wants to end, but to staff, I'll leave it at that. Have we ever thought about maybe putting some of the did you knows on our website about the water? Because I represent a ward where it's through the aquifers and stuff like that, where discoloring is sometimes water looks like tea, safe to drink and stuff, maybe not aesthetically appealing. But maybe that people, like, when they're inquiring about that, because I do receive emails, like if we do a flushing of the system or, something where the aesthetics of it maybe change a little bit. Like, have we ever thought of maybe having frequently asked questions or did you know, where people could go right on our website and just click right on it? Because, and I think sometimes the decrease when we've done so well with our water testing, it sometimes forms a little bit of complacency of people responding to surveys and stuff. So maybe because it's a communication question, maybe through Rebecca or whoever, but I just was wondering if that would be something, because some people are concerned about it being drinking water.
Thank you, through you, Chair Hamilton, to Deputy Mayor Thompson. If you do go to barrie.ca and you search drinking water, there's an extensive amount of information, and at the bottom of the page there is frequently asked questions. And as Ms. Morrow mentioned, we also have done a series of videos, so you're seeing those on social media as well that we did last year. Those are posted on this page too, so I can send the link to council if that's helpful, but there's quite a bit of information there that you can share with your residents.
Perfect, yeah, because I think sometimes the knowledge of it is, so powerful and people understand because it is something, we're consuming and like, I think people always remember of bad water, and I don't need to mention what happened before and why rules have changed, but I think there's a little bit of paranoia when the water isn't as crystal clear as it normally is. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, that is now approved. And I'll go to the next item held, 8.2, Barrie Baycats Facility Use Agreement, and Deputy Mayor Thompson, put that on the
Thank you,
floor.
Chair Hamilton, and I'll put the motion on the floor, and I have an amendment. And it reads that the Director in Recreation Culture Services and or their delegate be authorized to execute a facility use agreement attached as Appendix A to the report of the Infrastructure and Community Investment Committee, CCS 005 2026, with the Barrie Baycats for the use of the stadium located at the Barrie Community Sports Complex, and amended to delete the provision for an additional 2-year option to allow further discussions to take place between the city and the Baycats. And I can speak to it. So they're exiting an agreement and just, with some time, but there's some ongoing conversations through the city and the Baycats on a variety of issues. Not issues, I think opportunity would probably be a better statement. So I think just allowing the 2 years, as business plans and stuff need to have a little bit of stability, but this allows that and for us to do the work that we're doing on an ongoing basis with the Baycats organization.
Great, thank you. Any questions from members of the committee? Councillor Rietman.
Just to the mover of the amendment, are the Baycats, would they have any concern about that? Have you discussed that with them?
I know that our staff have been in conversations and there's no issue with.
Okay, I realize that there's a lot of discussion going on and needs to go on yet, so I'm okay with it.
Any other questions or comments from members of the committee? Any questions or comments from members not on committee? Otherwise, we'll go ahead to the vote. All those in favor as a motion as amended? And that is approved. All right, there are no items for discussion, so that brings us to adjournment. I will conclude the Infrastructure and Community Investment Committee meeting at 6:26, and we'll move into general